You can join us live for our next BookFunnel webinar. Check out the link in the description for more details. We hope to see you there.
All right. I've been told recently that I start every webinar and live stream with the words "all right," and so I'm gonna just lean into that today, and we're gonna get started here in just a moment. I want to welcome everybody today to today's BookFunnel webinar. My name is Jack. I'm our lead author support specialist here at BookFunnel, and we're going to be talking about custom themes today and your author brand. I was thinking about this webinar a bit because in some of my webinars, I do them more like a PowerPoint presentation and I have slides ready and all that stuff. And I thought, this stuff is really better shown directly on the dashboard. Slides is not going to cut it. And there were some tools that I wanted to share with everybody too, that it's just much better to show you how to use it in this case for this specific topic. So that's how we're going to be doing things today in this specific webinar. And we're going to be, like I said, talking about custom themes, but also customizing your landing pages, some things like that. And how you can use this to make your landing pages more effective, but also it's just another way to express your creativity as well for some folks. I know. So to get started, we're a little bit of an overview of all the stuff we're going to cover today, and hopefully we should have plenty of time to get to all of this. So hopefully I'm not over promising anything here. I know we're going to be able to touch on all of these things. We're going to start by customizing your landing pages. There are some tips and tricks there, some little secrets that you might not be aware of. And so we will get to some of those things in that section. And then we'll move on to custom themes specifically, how to set those up, how to create them. If you've played around with a custom theme before, I'm going to show you how to make it really simple and easy. I'm also going to show you how to create and use a custom color palette using some tools from Canva and either your book cover or your author logo. And then we'll also talk about uploading your logo and creating a logo with Canva today. I'm going to be using Canva as an example, but you can use any other tool out there that does the same thing. Canva is not a requirement. This is not a sponsored webinar or anything like that. I just happen to use Canva. I do recommend it. I like it personally, but maybe it's not for you, right? Maybe you use something else, and that's totally fine. You'll still be able to do it. Canva is just going to be used as our example for today. So that is what we're going to be covering in this session. I do want to note for everybody here, we will have some time for questions at the end. So if you do have questions, whether you're watching on Zoom or on Facebook, you can comment either in the Zoom chat or the Facebook chat, and we will get to those at the end of today's session. We should have plenty of time to go into that. And if there's something I missed and maybe you want me to show or demonstrate, I can do that in that Q&A segment. So feel free to ask around that time. We should have about 15-20 minutes at the end here. We like to leave plenty of time for questions. And then also, I should note that replays are now hosted directly on BookFunnel.com. So your replay links and our mostly complete library of past webinars, orientations, and Q&A sessions can be found on BookFunnel.com/videos. You can go there right now if you want to, although don't leave the stream. Stick around, but you can go there right now and check out everything we have available. And these orientations and webinars, this webinar specifically, will be up there soon, right? Well, shortly after this, should be by the end of the day. I guess I want to say there's some processing time and so forth, but we usually can get those up by the end of the day. That means we can get the replays up and available a little bit sooner. And then if you signed up through Calendly, we'll still send you out the link. It'll just be a link to bookfunnel.com/videos now, instead of the Zoom replay link, right? Which can sometimes be a little clunky and you've got to use a passcode. And anyway, so it's simplified now. So wanted to let everybody know about that before we just dive in today. We'll also talk about some of our upcoming webinars and today's Q&A session, which is going to be a little later in the afternoon. And that will be at the end. We'll save some of that stuff for the end. We're about ready to dive in here, and so we'll just go into customizing your landing pages. So on this demo account, we have a number of different landing pages. I've got all my tabs lined up here, and so here we're looking at a basic download page. This is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. If you've been to one of our BookFunnel author orientations, we make a new landing page for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland in every single one of those orientations. And so we have lots of instances of this landing page on the dashboard. And this is pretty basic. This is the BookFunnel defaults, essentially, on this landing page in terms of our headings, in terms of our button text and our page text. Nothing here has really been modified, right? We've just added our book details, and then this is what BookFunnel creates. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, right, it's not too bad, right? This page is not offensive, right? The colors are nice, right? It's just a muted gray, and this blue isn't garish or anything like that. Very simple. And maybe it serves your purposes just fine. Maybe you don't see the need to customize this at all. It's perfect just the way it is, right? Well, I don't know why you're in this webinar if that's the case, but we're going to customize all this stuff, and we're going to talk about some of that. And so I want to dive in here. I have the details page for that same download page here, and we're going to edit this and we're going to customize it. I'm going to show you some of the tools at your disposal to customize this and make it more yours. And so from your landing page settings, right here, obviously we can look over everything and we can see what we've got going on here. But if we want to customize it, we need to go to the action button and we need to edit our page details. And here we're able to edit everything. Obviously things like our page name and so forth, but our landing page settings, this is where we're going to customize the appearance of our page. And so a few things here I want to talk about. And in our orientations, I kind of brush over this stuff. So maybe you've seen me, talk about this before, but I want to go into a little bit more detail on this today because the custom themes side of this is where the rubber really meets the road. But there are a lot of things you can do just right from here without having to set up a custom theme. Right? So, for example, the page layout. The BookFunnel default layout is what we have right now. That's where the book cover is large and over to the left, typically in this kind of view. It'll look a little different on mobile, and so you'll want to check that out, look at it on multiple devices. We can also preview here, which will render a preview that will show us, okay, this is what it's going to look like, say, on an iPad. This is what it's going to look like on a phone. You'll see the cover is now up at the top and centered, and then everything else comes below that, right? A lot of your readers are probably going to be on mobile, so you'll want to check out both of those differences there. But if we change this, we notice here we have a few different options. Let's go back to 2015. Let's jump in a time machine here, and we'll save these page settings here. It's going to take a moment. It's thinking about that. It's thinking about that. And this is an older layout that is available. You'll notice it looks a little different. This is a blast from the past for some of you, maybe. The book cover again here off to the left. A read more. The description here now is above the button text. And so maybe this is kind of the layout you want, where the button is at the very bottom. And maybe you're using your page text more as kind of a call to action, and you want them to read through all this first, right? So you have that layout option. Now let's jump a year forward and look at 2016, and it's slightly different, a little bit wider. But again, it's important to note that this is going to vary on mobile versus on a desktop. Now the button is kind of in the middle, in between your heading and your page text. Okay? So those are available. And then we have the wide layout. The wide layout, in my opinion, we're not going to see the full effect of this here. You'll see the cover looks a little bit smaller, but that's because this cover is in a portrait, right, layout. If it were landscape, so if you had, let's say you have a children's book, right? The wide layout is what I recommend because the cover will appear wider in this layout and take up a little bit more of the screen. And otherwise, the button's going to be centered here. So you have a few different choices here in terms of your layout that you can tinker with. The default layout is going to work for the vast majority of use cases, but those other layouts are there and sometimes will be a better fit, again, depending on the shape of your cover. Right? Are you doing an audiobook? Is it a square? The wide layout might work well for that. Right? You might like that better. Or again, like I mentioned, a children's book or a cover that is in a sort of landscape. It's wider than it is tall. Then that wide layout might be ideal for you. Now, the page theme. So we have some themes here that are default. The white and gray is the default one. There's also a black and gray. This is sort of like a dark mode for your landing pages. It's black and gray with white text, the same BookFunnel blue color, right? And we do also have just a solid white and a solid black option. If you choose those, it really is just a solid white background. It's plain and simple. Now, what these are useful for is being paired with an accent color. And so you'll see here, we have a number of accent colors available. I guess you guys can't see that, might not be able to see the drop-down menu as I'm opening it. I thought you could. Maybe you can, or maybe you can't. I know on Facebook, I'm looking over at a second monitor and nobody can see the drop-down menu. So if you can't see it, we have blue, green, light blue, mint, orange, peach, pink, purple, red, turquoise, and yellow. So we have a lot of colors for you to choose from. If we go with turquoise here and we reload that page, that's pretty bright. I'd probably want to use that on a darker background, right? Maybe. Let's pick another color here just to demonstrate. Let's go with green and reload. And it's kind of a darker green color here. So you can play around with these accent colors and the default BookFunnel themes. Maybe you just want something simple. Maybe you don't want to have to tinker around with multiple colors and sections of your landing page with a custom theme. I don't blame you, right? So you can just do something simple like that. And we're going to go back to our defaults here for now. And then when it comes to your text, obviously there's customizing options here. I can choose a custom heading here if I wanted to and put in custom text. I could do all of that stuff. My button text and my page title. Page title, by the way, is what shows up in the browser tab that's up here, right? But there's other things that we can do here. So for example, if we use some custom text, let me really quick here, just copy and paste the text that I already have on the page. So I have something to put in here, but I can customize things like adding headings into this section, right? Maybe I want to have something here with a hyperlink, right? Join my newsletter, right? Or maybe follow me on Facebook or something like that. And I can make this text larger. I could insert a hyperlink in there. All of these tools are available to you. You can even add bullets. You can change the centering, justification, and so forth of the text. Bold, italics, strike through. Maybe this is a sales landing page and your book was $9.99, but not anymore. Now it is, a different price, right? Something like that. You have a lot of options here in this main page text window and with this nice little interface. But you can still do some of these formatting tricks in these fields here as well. And so this includes things like centering, italics, and bold, right? Here as well. So let's make a custom heading. So we're just going to, pardon me here, but this is a custom heading. That's the text that we're going to use. I'm not feeling particularly creative right now. Right? And if we save those settings and go back, reload our page, there's our custom heading. Right? But what if we want this text here to be centered instead of being over to the left? Well, we have a little trick here. It's minus sign, equal sign, and on the other end, equal sign, minus sign. And now when I save that and reload, that heading is centered. If I want to add italics, it's 1 asterisk. We'll show that here. And now that's in italics. And if I want to make that bold, it's a double asterisk. And you'll see now it's bold, right? A lot of this information can also be found on the author knowledge base. We have an article that lists all these tricks, right? And I'll make sure that a link for that gets put into the Zoom chat here before the end of today's session. But know that you can do that, and you can do that here for your headings. You can do that for the button text. You can do that here for this secondary heading. The page text, you don't need to, because you have this menu here where you can customize all that stuff. But for example, all of this here, you can still center, add italics, and make bold. But one other thing that you can do that most people don't know, and this is kind of super secret, an open secret really, are variables. This is our author knowledge base article on variables. Let me copy and paste this here into the chat for everybody so that you have that. But variables are very powerful. I'm going to scroll down to the list of them, but here's actually a few examples. So things like the reader's name, your author name, the number of copies that are left available to claim, and any number of, well, not any number, but a lot of other variables. If I scroll down here, here's the complete list. And so author will be replaced with the author's name. You could put your email there if you wanted to. Your URL to your website. This will pull the URL from your pen name details. And copies more remaining. So this would say this is the number of copies still available in the format X more copies, right? And if we're editing our landing page, we can't see that option here, but we could still use that variable by adding a download limit. And if we add a download limit of 5, that means 5 readers can claim the book, right? Not that one reader can download 5 times. 5 individual readers can download the book. And we'll just take this copies remaining. And we'll paste that in here. And that's going to give us essentially the number of copies that we have left available. If we save that, I hope this should work properly here for us. It's going to say 2 copies. So we do have to add that text, left to claim, get yours now, right? Something like that. And so we save that. And now here, whoops, I jumped over to the wrong window. This 2 copies is going to update each time that it gets claimed. We've already claimed some through this page, which is why it says 2 instead of 5, because we've already downloaded some from this page. But if somebody else came along and downloaded it, this would then count down to 1 and so forth. And so this is a great way, an effective way to sort of create some urgency. Right? And you could even come back and reset this every day if you wanted to. If you didn't want the page to actually expire, but you wanted that to be there, I may be guilty of doing that myself, right? But you can add that in here. And that works, that variable works in multiple other places as well. You could even put it on the button itself. But note you have limited amount of text available on the button, so might not be the greatest place to put it. But all these variables here, things like country codes, etc., you have a lot of options with this. Some of these that might not seem all too useful, but some of them might. So you could say the number of readers who have claimed the book. You could put that on there. Maybe you have a landing page that over 1,000 readers have claimed the book from, right? And you could say join, number claimed readers who have downloaded this book. And it will say join 1,537 readers who have downloaded this book already and experience, blah, 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 whatever you want to say, right? So variables are very powerful, but you have to use them the right way. I recommend looking through this list, maybe picking out 1, maybe 2 of them that you want to experiment with. If you really want to maximize your use out of them, it's probably finding one that's going to help readers feel some sense of urgency to go ahead and claim your books. So that's what I would recommend you do. Now, when we're looking at our landing page here, right, we're going to move on to a custom theme. Again, this is our default layout. Maybe we want this to look a little snazzier though. Maybe we want some of these colors to be different, and the accent colors don't quite cut it, and the default layouts. So we can customize that theme. And I have an example of that right here. Excuse me. This is very simple, very basic. What I've done here is I have taken a few colors and added that to my theme details. I'll show here under our themes, we can create a new theme. This is an example that I use, and I've set these colors to each one of these sections of this landing page. And so you'll see in this preview here, that's what it looks like here. And on the actual page, looks pretty much the same. Right? Now, where are you getting these colors from, though? You might be asking. Do you just pick a few colors that complement each other? You can totally do that. I have another example here. This is another one of our, this is actually one of our Sissy K Picklebottom's books. This is the pen name that we use for all of our examples. This is not an actual author name. But in this case, I've taken these colors directly from the book cover itself and added them to this page. You'll also notice, I'm going to try to zoom in here a little bit. We have a custom logo. This is not the BookFunnel logo here. It functions the same way as the BookFunnel logo does on a landing page, but you'll notice it is the author logo instead. And this is a separate custom theme that I've created and uploaded that logo to. I'll go ahead and show that one here. You'll see I have these colors specifically set, and you'll notice these codes, right? This is 062F 2D and 12BF B5. This is robot speak for this specific color. That is these are hex codes is what these are called. And you do not have to be a computer genius to know how these work. Just know that you'll notice these two are the same. That's telling BookFunnel here, these are supposed to be the same color. We're going to actually go through making a custom theme here in just a moment. And I'm going to show you how you can get these codes, right, without having to do a whole lot of extra work, right? So here we have an example of a landing page, and we're going to create a custom theme for this page specifically, right? Let me pull this over here. If we go back to our themes, you'll notice here, this page, not terrible, but we got some really nice colors in our book cover. And maybe we want to highlight those on this landing page, right? And so how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to go ahead and add a new theme. We could name this theme if we want to. We'll go with our Lies series theme. We're going to apply this maybe to a series of pages, and now we can customize these colors. If you wanted to, you can come in here and you can use these slider bars, and you can pick some wacky, goofy colors. Maybe you're really good at this part of it. I'm not, right? So it's going to look all sorts of crazy. This is attractive, right? Probably not. Yeah, I totally understand. These slider bars, though, are good for changing. Maybe you have you start off with a certain color, and maybe I want to make that just a little bit darker, right? So this slider bar here is actually pretty useful for that. But I wouldn't recommend most people trying to find a color that you're using in here. Not recommended. So this is where Canva comes in. I'm going to copy this link into the Zoom chat because this is a color palette generator. Whoop, they got all sorts of things popping up here for me. By the way, you do not have to have a Canva account in order to use this page. Anybody can use it. You come here and you upload an image. In this case, I've already uploaded that book cover image, and you'll see that it's given me 4 colors to work with right here, right, along with those hex codes. And so I can take these codes. I think actually I can copy them right from here. Let me move this over and let's paste that in there. Whoops, it copied the hashtag too. And now, oh, hey, we've got that color. Let's copy this Mandy's pink. I think that's what it's calling that, right? It'll tell you the names for those colors too, which is kind of interesting. And we can paste those in here and then start to work with them so that we have all these colors available to us. And you'll see we have this kind of purple, this peach, and these two shades of pink that we can work with. And maybe we like that kind of lighter color on the bottom, but let's get this button fixed here, shall we? I generally like the button to kind of match the background at the top. I think that's pretty effective there. And then the button text, we could update that. Maybe we want that to match that pink. I don't know. We'll try it out. We'll see how it looks. You can vote in the comments and let me know. A black text for the page text, you can pick black or white. I recommend black if your background is a lighter color. If it's a darker color, I recommend white. Right? So very simple here. We have these colors selected, ready to go. So we can now save this theme. And if we go back to this page, I'm actually going to have to find this here on the dashboard. Let's go back to our landing pages. By the way, if you're sorting through books, you can sort through name or by the book title, but we have it right here. And then we can edit our page details, and we're just going to scroll down to our page theme. And there it is, the one we just created. So we'll select that. And let's go ahead and save. And let's take a look. Let's reload this. Fingers crossed, everybody, right? How does it look? Well, hey. Pretty, I don't know. I'd say pretty. I did a pretty good job. Everybody vote in the comments. Thumbs up, thumbs down. How did I do? Right? I bet you could probably do a better job. Maybe this text here is maybe a little dark, right? But you can tinker around with this, right? You could come back to your theme and you could, again, go back and edit these theme details. Maybe we want that headline text, that heading text up there to be a different color. Maybe we don't want to wind up using that color. We want to use this peach. Maybe that looks a little better to us. And when we do that and reload, yeah, I think that stands out a little better there. It's kind of nice having the background color and this lighter color switching there, if I say so myself. My mother was an art teacher, so I like to think that I've inherited some of her taste. So let me know if you think I did. But you can see here, it's not that hard when we have these codes, and this pulls these colors right from your book cover. Now, we could use this theme now for all of the books in that series if we wanted to. And we actually do have a series that we have. Let me go to our bundle page that I've created for this. If we view that here, you'll see we have an entire series of books and they have a very similar color palette. And so if we applied this theme to all of those, it would obviously probably be a good fit, right? You might imagine. But maybe your book covers don't match each other quite as nicely as these do. These are obviously example covers. We intentionally made them this way. Maybe your covers have some different variations in terms of their color scheme. How do you do that? Well, you could create a different color scheme for each one of your covers if you wanted to. Up to you. I don't know if you necessarily want to do that, but you could also do this by uploading maybe your author logo instead, or some of your author branding, something like that. It doesn't have to be a book cover that you upload here, right? You could upload a logo and pull those colors from that and then use those on your theme details instead. It's just a very simple way for you to, essentially grab those colors is what this is for, and then use those instead. Maybe you do something very simple and you just have a one of the defaults with a specific color. Totally up to you, whatever you intend to do. But you can grab those colors from other places, not just from your book cover, right? But you'll see, I think that made quite a difference in how our page turned out. But what about this logo here? You'll notice it's a little dark, right? And down here it looks okay, but maybe we want our own logo. just like we had for this theme right here. We've actually already uploaded a logo to this theme, so I'm going to demonstrate how we would do that using this theme right here. Now, a logo image, first of all, has to be somewhat specific when you upload it to BookFunnel. So I've actually created this logo in Canva already. And in Canva, the nice thing is that when you create a project, you can specify its exact dimensions in terms of pixels, which is useful because a logo image that you upload to BookFunnel has to be no more than 70 pixels tall. I think it's around there, right? No more than 70. And it can be up to 300 pixels wide, which is exactly what this is. And when you create a project in Canva, you can say, I want it to be 70 pixels tall and 300 pixels wide. And then you don't have to fiddle with it after that. Right. So if you try to upload an image that is taller than 70 pixels, BookFunnel is gonna say, hey, you need to fix that and adjust it. So I recommend coming to Canva. Maybe you even make your author logo here like I did. These are some graphics that are available through Canva. Obviously, maybe you want to hire somebody to make a custom logo for you or whatever you want to do. Totally fine. But these are just two examples. And I've made one that is black. And I've also made one here that is a light gray, so it shows up on a darker background. And so if I go back here, whoop, where was I? To my theme. This is the custom theme we just created. What I'm going to do is drag and drop my logo in. We'll drag, let's go with this one first. Let's see here. Oh, does it not like it? I have to, there we go. Okay, so now I've uploaded a logo to my theme. By the way, you have to do this after you've created it. I'm not editing the theme right now. I'm just uploading it directly from the theme details. And so now when I go back to this page and reload it, you'll see that logo appears up at the top. It shows up a little better down here. And this is the tricky part because I've chosen to have this dark and light color scheme. There's no way to upload a separate logo for different parts of the page. There are some ways to work around this, but it depends on where you want to highlight it. Most people are going to see this logo up at the top first, right? Just to be upfront about it. They're going to see that one first. And so I probably am going to want to upload instead a lighter one. And so I'll upload the lighter version of that logo and we'll now reload and you'll see that shows up quite a bit better. And down at the bottom, it's not too bad, right? So I recommend having a version of your logo that complements whatever colors you're going to use on your landing page. And again, 70 pixels tall by 300 pixels wide is what you want to aim for. This is usually plenty of room for you to fit in your author name, maybe your series name, something like that. Excuse me. And if your logo is much more colorful than mine is, right? Maybe you have a background color on your logo and some other colors in there. You could be using that when you come here to Canva to get your color palette instead of using your book cover. Right? So that's another option that you have. All right. There's tons of comments and questions in the chat. And so I want to give everybody plenty of time so we can get through all of those today. So Emma and Kelly, I'm going to have you guys hop in here. What do they want to know about custom themes? And
I guess this is a bad time to admit I've been following along.
No, not
like,
at all.
oh, that's too pretty. Let me go do that. I've got
Yes.
a new fresh theme. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Well, hey, I played around, and this is why I wanted to show this instead of doing a presentation with slides. That works for some things, but for this, it really needed to be more hands-on. So hopefully that's helpful for everybody.
Okay, I'm scrolling through chat now. Let me do my job.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. And that bundle page that we have here, I should mention I did create this image here in Canva as well. This is a stock background image that I used. Canva with some of their paid plans, and I think their free plan as well. They have some stock images, and I just added this color in the foreground to make it match along with this text. Again, these are using the colors that I got from here, so I'm not doing anything too fancy. And the dimensions of this in Canva, they actually have a excuse me, project called a Twitter header image, or a Twitter header is what it's called. And it is these dimensions here, which we kind of complements a bundle page pretty well. Same thing if you're making a header image for a group promo. That's just about the right size. So no need to reinvent the wheel with that one. And then you can add some custom text here as well to a bundle page, which, and then here we're seeing the landing page itself when we click on the cover, just as sort of a pop-up, and then they can go back to this bundle page here. I guess I should mention your bundle page can also be customized. You can't apply a theme to a bundle page yet. That's one thing that I might be pushing for, but you have other customization options here. You'll see on a bundle page, obviously I can upload that header image. I can change the format and arrangement of the covers on the page. So here I have the first book. Excuse me, folks. I have that first book up at the top, but you can have it featured off to the side. And you have some other options here, rearranging the book titles and so forth, and some other things at your disposal there. I'm going to take a drink, folks. Excuse me.
Jack, I'm seeing an overall theme of several people wanting clarification on how a custom theme overrides everything else.
Yes. So, excuse me, folks. Oh boy. So, okay. So we have this theme here. Yes, it does override your other page settings. So here you'll see our theme is applied right now to this page. If we were to go to that landing page and try to edit, we would be able to edit, but what you'll notice is that it's going to override the accent color. So if you have an accent color selected, you can only do so with one of the default themes. So you could do something like red, right? Something like this. And then obviously it would be totally different. But hey, maybe that's a good color scheme for your page, and therefore a custom theme isn't necessary. If I come down here and I go back and select that one, you'll see this grays out. So that means the accent color is being overridden. It's not an option. To mix and match those, if you're going to use a custom theme, you just have to use the custom theme. It's all. So yes, that custom theme will override any accent color that you have there. And obviously you're choosing that in lieu of one of the BookFunnel default themes, like the white and gray or gray and black, something like that.
Okay, and Heather says, I missed how to add a logo to the landing page. Is it under landing page settings?
No, it's not under your landing page settings. So here you'll notice you're not going to be able to find a spot to put in your logo. There you're going to have to go to themes. And here we have this theme already. But once you've created it, you'll see we have that image there. Once it's uploaded, it will show you that the image is already there, but you could click here to upload that new file. And again, making sure that it's 70 pixels, no more than 70 pixels tall and no more than 300 pixels wide. When you do that, easiest way to do that is on Canva, in my opinion, because you can literally tell Canva when you create a new project with a custom size, I want it to be these dimensions in pixels. That way you don't have to guess about inches to pixels and what all that means. Just tell it 700 by 300. I wonder if I could actually share this project. I might be able to do that.
Yeah, you can make it editable if you want.
Yeah, I should be. Let me see. I might try
Or
to.
if you do view only, they'll have to make a copy so it
Yeah,
doesn't mess with the original.
yeah. Let me tinker with that in the background here for a second while you pull up the next question.
Okay. Um, Actually, a lot of the questions are about Canva. Oh, here's one. So Christy is asking, have they done tests to perform which one, to see which one performs better? And I think she was talking about the layouts,
Layouts.
and the way that it was set up.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, so yeah, basically, I don't think that we've done any specific testing on that. You'll notice we have updated it over the years, and now with the default and wide layouts we have now, which some would probably argue are a bit of an improvement on some of the 2015 and 2016 layouts. I think what it's really gonna come down to for most folks is where you want this button to be. If you're comparing the default layout to either of those older layouts, right? And if we go, let me go back here to, this is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And if we go back to that 2015 layout and save that, right? Here, again, the button being at the bottom and then this read more, right? So if you have a shorter description that's maybe just a paragraph, and then you want your button to be at the end of that, I think this would be a more effective way to deliver that sort of information. It's more, in my opinion, and you'll notice here that the heading, this text is not as large. This is a little bit simpler. In my opinion, for most folks, this is not going to be as effective as the current default. However, we didn't want to take this option away for people who liked it, right? And so it still exists on the dashboard. And then, of course, the 2016 is kind of a happy medium where our button is kind of like in the middle here. You'll also notice that the 2015 option, I don't believe, has a secondary heading, right? I think that option isn't available. It is an older option, so it doesn't have all the same elements. So also keep that in mind. But here, having the description below the button, again, but one thing you'll also note is that you're going to see, this is centered, first of all, so that's a difference. You're going to see that there's not going to be that link for readers to read in their browser. That is one thing that is missing from those old layouts. If you use one of those, that is a consideration. So here, to start reading in your browser, this is a simple download page. It doesn't collect emails. So they can just click here and they can start reading, right? It remembers my place. So that's why it's halfway through the book, right? But this could also be a link to the sample if you set up a sample. And so if you're wanting to use those things, then I'd say the default, the current up-to-date ones are probably going to be your best bet. However, if you like one of those older formats for some reason, or maybe it complements well what you're doing, then you can use those. The larger heading here, though, I think is really what makes all the difference. This is going to grab people's attention, and it complements the size of the book cover very well. On mobile, it looks pretty good. So I would venture to say, I'm not a betting man. I am not. But if I were to place a bet, I would say the default layout is probably going to be the most effective. But there are reasons why you might want to use some of the other ones.
Okay. Did you happen to grab that link for the Canva logos?
Oh, yeah. Let me see here.
I don't know if you can.
I think, Emma, remind me, if I set it so that they can view, are they still able to copy that project for themselves?
Yeah, they can make a copy and then edit it in their own account.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm going to pop that link in here. So it's going to be a really long link, folks, but anybody will be able to, you can click on that and view that project in Canva, and then you can make a copy of it for yourself, is what you'll have to do. But that has the dimensions already of 70 pixels tall by 300 pixels wide, right? So you won't be able to edit it. You'll have to make a copy for yourself, because I'm probably going to reuse this as an example later on. So I don't want anybody to tinker with that one specifically. But if you have a custom logo already, it should be pretty easy to fit it in there and make it work.
Okay. So another question Robin is asking, what do essayists and short story authors do for offers and launches without book covers?
Okay. All right. So you do, okay. I see what you're saying. So if it's an essay or, well, what I would recommend is make a book cover. That's going to sound contradictory. And I'm not trying to be snarky. I would still make a book cover. If it's an essay, think of it like a cover page, if you will. Maybe it's simpler. Maybe it's not primarily graphics. Maybe it's primarily text, but make something that, that looks nice and complements what it's about. But a cover image of some sort is going to be, without it, I guess I should say, without a cover image, you're going to have a placeholder image here instead. Right. And actually it will look like this book cover. This is our placeholder cover image. And you're not going to want that on your landing page. So you are going to want to upload something. One thing you could do instead of a book cover, if this is maybe a professional type thing you're sharing, and you don't want to make a custom like cover page, would be a way to do it, right? But you could also upload, for example, a headshot of yourself, right? Maybe with your name on the bottom and your title, something like that. That's something you could do instead of a cover image. I'm trying to think of other things. There's no option to not have a cover image on your landing page, and so generally speaking, you'll want to have something uploaded. You don't want to leave it blank, but I would say either make a cover page of some sort that maybe just has the title of the essay, your name, and probably some little splash of color, or maybe not a graphic necessarily, but some element on it that is attractive and eye-catching, even if it's very simple, right? And use that. Or again, like I mentioned, use a headshot or probably a professionally photographed image of yourself. I know myself, very hard to get a good photogenic picture of me without a professional taking it, as you can probably imagine. So, if you have to hire somebody for something like that, that could be a way to do it. Those are the two things that come to mind, right? But you'll want to have something there, right?
Sorry about that. I was working on an answer. Sorry. I think actually that's pretty much it. There's a couple coming in.
I do see
This is interesting. YM asked, do these theme
Yeah.
colors show as the actual colors even in dark mode? I haven't tested that. Let me.
They
should though.
Yeah, they should override dark mode. But let me double check. Let me copy this over here. And let's switch to dark mode. And one dark mode does sometimes override. And unfortunately, there's not much that can be done about it. Nope, it does not override these colors on mobile. So good deal. Interestingly, on mobile too, I guess maybe I'm on an iPhone, so maybe it's different for other people. There's this background color at the bottom. There's also a bar of it up at the top above the page, which is kind of interesting. Anyway, I digress. But yes, dark mode will not override those. Most of the time, it's possible that there's some system out there that, on some device it will. I can't make all those promises, but doing a quick check here looks like it doesn't. All right.
Okay, so we have one more. Shanda is asking, can you use a bundle to request reviews? Can we ask for reviews on BookFunnel?
Yes, this is off topic, but I like it.
Yeah.
So technically not within the scope, but yeah, no, good question. How would you go about doing that, right? How would you go about doing it? You've got a bundle page here, you want to ask for reviews. How do you do it? Okay, well, it depends. Are you saying you just want to put a link to where they can go and leave a review? Well, yeah, you can add that. You can add that text with a hyperlink even to your bundle page. You can add that text with a hyperlink to your landing page. Really, that would just be a matter of coming in here to your landing page and say, write a review on Amazon, please. Okay, don't sound so desperate, right? Don't sound as desperate as I am here, but you could put in a link to Amazon maybe, or wherever else you want them to go and review it. You can absolutely do that. Pretty straightforward to include that there. But what if you're wanting to, for example, get people to discover your arc? As an example, what I recommend you do for that is use a sales landing page, because a sales landing page, let's come back here. Let's actually take a look at this one. A sales landing page can point to any link. Not everybody knows this. We've obviously got these ebook store links here that I've added, and you can leave these blank. You don't have to put anything in here if you don't want to. And then you can just put a link in this big button link field. This is going to be the link that is on the primary button of your landing page. And let's say maybe you have a form that you're using to recruit people to your review team, like an opt-in form. You can point it to that. Or maybe you're recruiting reviewers on another site. You can do that, right? Whatever it happens to be, right? And just include that link here. You create this landing page. It'll use the book's cover. It'll have all the things that a landing page would, and it will send them to where they can go and sign up for that. In fact, I do have, if I can find it, excuse me here, folks, the screen might disappear for those of you on Zoom for a second. I do actually have an example. This is not me trying to brag here, but I have an example of something like this. Let me find the link to it. Forgive me, folks. It's just taking me a moment to grab this from another window. And now let me head back over. Okay. This is a review promo that I am hosting on the BookFunnel promos board. It's a somewhat wide this is my first time doing this. Not a whole lot of authors in it, but these authors were willing to take a gamble on this. This is set up as a sales promo, but all of these link to a place where a reader can claim a book for review. So for example, if you wanted to check out this one, this actually I think is just pointed to a BookFunnel download page or an email collection page. So they're using the sales landing page to point to that, but they're using the sales landing page to give information about the fact that this is a review copy, right? Same thing here with this one. I myself have these pointed at Booksprout specifically, but you could do something else if you wanted to, and using that specific call to action, right? Claim your review copy. So this is a promo that I am going to be regularly hosting, and I have it for a wide range of genres: science fiction and fantasy, I think horror, and maybe I can't remember what the third genre was, but very broad because it's kind of a niche sort of thing. and I'm working on some other tools that can make something like this even more easy to do. So you can do this. This is just an example of how that sort of thing would work, right? Yeah, you could do it with the sales landing page is what I'd recommend, and then point that to wherever you're recruiting, to your ARC team, your review team, whatever it is. It could even be a BookFunnel email collection page if you wanted it to be. You can do that sort of thing with a sales landing page.
Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos from BookFunnel, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.